Every tabletop wargame or game of Dungeons & Dragons needs terrain. The most quintessential and iconic of any terrain piece is going to be the humble hill. Now these things add elevation, add depth to battlefields. They also help to make things look visually more interesting and help to keep players much more focused in on their games. They're dead easy to make, and all we're going to really need for today is some insulation foam, some nice big thick sort of underfloor insulation, some craft paint and some flock. It's going to be dead easy. I'm looking forward to making it all with you. I'm Harry and welcome to the Distant Vale. Right, first things first, we need some outlines. So what I'm going to do here is just take some nice thick cardboard and I'm just going to draw some very rough hill shapes. All I'm really looking for here is a decent sized footprint, something that's going to be visually a little bit interesting, and I'm just trying to be as efficient as I can with spacing on my cardboard. I'm going to get about 5 hill shapes out of this one A3 piece of paper. Cutting them out with a pair of scissors, good and sharp. Doesn't really need to be too neat or tidy. This is really just about trying to give us a rough outline to build the foam on top. Right, next thing we're going to need is the foam. Now what this is a underfloor insulation panel. It can be a little bit challenging to find this in New Zealand, but if you head on down to, normally Bunnings has this in big old sheets. You can get a couple of different thicknesses. What I've done is taken a fairly thick piece of insulation and just cut it down through the middle, just to thin it out a little bit. And it is about 2.5 centimeters tall. I've stuck down the footprints of the hill, and now what we're going to do is just carve out the foam around that underlying footprint. And the easiest way to cut this this polystyrene here is with lots of little cuts with a craft knife. Don't try and be a hero and take it all in one hit. It will only sort of leave you with a really rough, sort of ugly edge. But that being said, you can always just clean it up later. Now that these are trimmed down to size, we have to do the hard part, molding the hill shape. Now, all you got to do is just take that same sort of craft knife and start hacking away at the edges. What I'm looking for here is to have some fairly smooth, rounded edges, whilst it being steep enough that it's interesting, without being so steep that the models immediately fall over. So I've got a little test mini off to one side. I'm just going to keep going back and forth testing it to see what angle it needs to be to make sure it stays where it is. And you just want to take your time shaving little by little until you've got the hill shape roughly carved out. I'm just going to repeat this with all the other pieces, and just be aware it will leave a hell of a mess. You'll be finding little bits of foam for days afterwards, but it's just the price of getting some really cool terrain on board. And you can see here the finished product, some fairly hill-shaped mounds of foam. Now they are a little bit rough looking, but that's what the paint and flock are there to hide. All we need to do now is apply a layer of paint. All I've used is some black and dark brown craft paint from the warehouse. Just use the cheap stuff. It's not really going to be seen, it's just there to give a dirt looking effect anywhere we don't get flock. And for the final step, all we need to do now is apply some flock. I'm going to grab some good PVA glue and a range of flocking and basing materials. We're using the Kraut Cover range. I use it for a lot of my bases, and it's really nice set of materials to mix up to make your own sort of tabletop ready basing material. I'm going to take a couple of different mixes, so some light and dark earth, as well as some static grasses, mixing those up in a little container in order for us to apply over these hills. All that's left is to apply a nice even coat of PVA glue to these hills, and then we can liberally cover in our flocking material. And once it's dried, just knock off some of the excess and you're pretty much good to go. I would say when applying the flocking material, put more down than you think you need to. Better to have excess that you can knock off than not enough. With that done, these are now tabletop ready. All you need now is a game mat and some minis, and you're ready to go. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Really appreciate you guys watching all the way through. Let us know down below what you thought, and if you've got any ideas for us to work on in the future. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers. Bye.